Hi there. I try not to be too flamin' silly. Sometimes I kind of, sort of, almost nearly get in the neighborhood of sort of, kind of, maybe succeeding. And if I make sense, I do apologize. That is not my intention. Welcome to Whiskey for Beginners. I don't say it in every video, but it occurs to me to remind y'all that if you like the video, click the thumbs up. Thumbs up! If you don't like it, I guess you can click the thumbs down and send this gladiator to, well, nowhere, because there's not another gladiator to kill me, and I'm not a gladiator anyway, so... But yeah, if you don't like it, you're free to click the thumbs down. That it won't hurt my feelings, you know. Free speech, right? You get to speak your mind. If you like the channel, please subscribe. If you like the video, you can, or if you don't like it, if you want to show everybody what a numbskull I am, you can share it. This is going to be a review of a whiskey I tried specifically because of SLB drinks. I don't know that I will remember, because I don't know when I'm going to upload this. I have several reviews already in the can. I think at this point 3. This will add to it, and then I randomize them and upload whatever comes up first in the randomizer. But if I remember, when I go to upload this, I'll put the SLB drinks link in the description. But you can hunt on YouTube for SLB drinks. A very good channel, wonderful channel. Kurt and Trenton are great people. As far as I can tell, I've never met them, but they come across on the videos as being just ordinary people. And that's what I like in my videos. These people who come off as oh so cool and oh so hip and oh so self-consciously trendy, those turn me off in the first minute or less. But SLB Drinks is cool. And I tried this because SLB Drinks has highly recommended the Cedar Ridge. There, now you can't read it. The Cedar Ridge Distillery. This is Cedar Ridge Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's 86 proof. And I decided from even on these video reviews, I probably do need to look up the mash bill and the age statement and that kind of thing. But I don't have to for this one. It has the mash bill there and then an age statement of sorts. So this is 74% Iowa corn, 14% rye, 12% two-row malted barley. And whether it's Iowa corn might matter to some, whether it's 2-row or 97-row barley might matter to some. It says a blend of barrels aged 3 to 4 years, which means by federal law, the age statement on this is 3 years. Has to be the youngest whiskey in the bottle. Even if your batch is 1,000 barrels, all of them 4 to 6 years old, and you have one barrel that's 3 years old, you have to say it's 3-year-old whiskey. But this is Cedar Ridge, and Kurt and Trenton have spoken highly of the Cedar Ridge Distillery. It is in Swisher, Iowa, and this is actually Iowa straight bourbon whiskey, though they don't say that way on the label. Distilled and bottled by Cedar Ridge Distillery. So, to do a review, we kind of have to have some whiskey in the glass, don't we? And A lot of reviewers make sure you hear the pop of the cork. That one sounded pretty good, but I'm not a big connoisseur of cork pops. That'll do for a review. Cork goes back in pretty well. We'll stick the bottle there. I want it where it's not blocking my face, but where you can still at least somewhat see the label. And I've done a lot of scooching around this way and that to get to the present setup. At first I was putting everything up here, and I was in this real narrow box, and I'm sure people were saying, close it off, we don't want to see you. And by pulling it back towards me, I give myself more room. And people are saying, no, we don't want you to have no room, close it off. Some people have jumped on me about what to me is self-deprecating humor. To them, apparently, it's coming off differently. But when I say things like that, I'm a Joshin. I probably have too high an opinion of myself. We all do, really. And I'm not going to get theological on you. Although if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that I am a Christian. You know that sometimes that comes out in the videos. Videos? Sometimes my hick pronunciation gets the better of me. In the novel The Virginian by Owen Wister, the first real Western novel, 1901, 1902, something like that, there's a man called Balaam, and I can't help but think that Owen Wister gave that name to the character on purpose, because just as Balaam in the Bible smacked his donkey, the Balaam in the Virginian abuses horses, or hosses, as the Virginian calls them. If you've ever seen Moonshiners, Tim Smith talks probably about like the Virginian did, with what they call a non-rhotic, or non-rhotic, however you pronounce it, R-H-O-T-I-C accent. You listen to Tim Smith and he'll talk about Virginia, and this would be bourbon, and the Virginian apparently talked like that, so he talked about how Balaam abuses horses. Anyway, where I was going with this, at some point they're discussing a group of Indians who've gone off the reservation and are hunting in the Bow Leg Mountains. And Balaam delivers himself of the opinion, I can't quote it exactly, I don't believe, something like it wasn't rustlers drove off them O.C. yearlings. And the Tenderfoot, the narrator of the book, says that Balaam's Western feelings got the better of his Eastern grammar. Well, I'm a hick, but sometimes I sound more of a hick than I am. And I've been sniffing at this, because this is a review. And it's a bourbon. I read you the mash bill. It is 74% corn, and of course by U.S. law, bourbon must be at least 51% corn. The majority grain has to be corn. But if you didn't, or if I didn't know it, I might think this was a barley whiskey. I'm getting that almost cloyingly sweet fruitiness that's characteristic of barley. And when I'm drinking what they call a single malt, except it's single malt, and except that's a British term, call it 100% barley whiskey. Why don't you? You know, speak American English, or aren't you American in the first place? But when I'm drinking one of them barley whiskeys, it doesn't seem cloying. But in this bourbon, where the barley is only 12%, it does seem too sweet and too fruity. And that may just be my expectations of bourbon. And really, that's about all I'm getting. Well, I'm getting some honey, too. Getting the barley fruitiness, I'm getting honey. You can see when the glass comes up, my face gets darker. This is a thoroughly amateur setup. You saw the title cards, right? I'm sticking my nose right down in there, and I'm barely getting any alcohol at all, but then this is only 86 proof. Yeah, that's all I'm getting is the sweet fruitiness of the barley and some honey. So let me see how the mouthfeel is. Mouthfeel's just mediocre, as I would call it. Oklahoma license plates used to say Oklahoma is okay. You know why they said that? Wasn't nobody in the state knew how to spell mediocre. You ever want to see a rivalry, get a Texan and an Okie together. As far as I'm concerned, Oklahoma does have a useful purpose. By sitting between Texas and Kansas, it keeps the Kansans all the way up there where they belong. Other than that, I can't feature why God made Oklahoma. But I tell you what, God bless Texas. And of course, if there's an Okie out there well, Fred Minnick's an Okie, although he doesn't sound like it. But if there's a convinced Okie out there doing a whiskey channel and he ever sees this, he's probably going to have things to say about me in Texas, and that's all right. There's a First Amendment for a reason, and that reason is you do have a right to speak your mind, even if you're dead flat crazy wrong. And yeah, that hypothetical Okie thinks I'm the dead flat crazy wrong. Yeah, the mouthfeel isn't anything to write home about. The palate, it tastes like bourbon. There's cinnamon, there's honey, and I rolled it around in my mouth some and didn't get much else. You know, you're not going to mistake it for rye whiskey. On the palate, you're not going to mistake it for barley whiskey nor corn whiskey, but I didn't get much. On that sip, I really moved it around in my mouth more vigorously than I normally do, because normally I don't have to. I got the honey, I got the cinnamon, and then way back, right about where the hinges of my jaw is, I got this very faint chocolateness, and that's all I'm getting. Now, I mentioned SLB Drinks has spoke highly of the Cedar Ridge Distillery. I cannot tell you any specific bottles they mentioned. I would have to go back and watch through a whole slew of videos. I've been subscribed to that channel, I believe, about 2 years now. But all I can figure is that they've not spoke of this bottle. This is, as I say, an 86 proof whiskey. And I haven't drank anything that low proof except Scottish and Irish in probably 3 years. I have found that I prefer 90 proof and better. And while I don't know that Trenton and Kurt are proof hounds, I don't know that they have ever had anything on their channel since I've been watching that was lower than 90 proof. So this may be something they've not talked about. There may be stuff from Cedar Ridge that's right good. Although Kurt and Trenton's palate are not as congruent with mine as some others. I've talked about him before, K.C. Allen of Beautiful Bourbon. He and I seem to have very congruent palates. He's recommended a couple of 3 things to me, and every single one I've liked and gotten pretty much the same notes he did. Not necessarily exactly the same. Not necessarily, I haven't necessarily gotten as many notes as he did. Of course, palates are different, and I'm just a whiskey drinker. KC is an executive bourbon steward, a designation from the Stave and Thief Society, which required him to spend considerable money, go through several hours of classwork, and pass a multi-page exam. So it's not a diploma mill by any means, although being an executive bourbon steward is not a college degree. But it's something he earned. It's something that means he knows a lot of stuff about whiskey that I don't. So he's going to get more out of a given whiskey than I will, even if everything I get agrees with part of what he got. How I got onto that beats the living daylights out of me. On the finish, I get some grain forwardness, which I'm not getting on the nose or the palate. I get some oak, kind of tannic oak, which is interesting considering how young this stuff is. And that's about it. Now, I will say that the finish is lingering on my tongue. I can still taste the oak. But it's not complex. Neither the nose, nor the palate, nor the finish is complex. Neither the nose, nor the palate, nor the finish is particularly attractive. It's not bad, but it's not anything to write home about. I'll be honest with you. This cost me, I got it, by the way, on the 26th of December. So this was Boxing Day. That's a British holiday, British and Commonwealth holiday. It's the day after Christmas. And the name comes from the custom of giving boxes, presents to servants, to tradesmen, whoever would come to the servants' entrance on the day after Christmas. I got it on December 26th from Kelly Liquors. Cost me $31.99, so it's a $32 bottle. And I'll be honest with you, my $20 bottle of Evan Williams bottled in bond is much better. This, I would say, is worth $15, and the Evan Williams, I'd say, is worth at least $30. So this is worth half the price, to me, of the Evan Williams. I don't regret trying it, but again, to be honest with you, this is my 3rd glass from it. It's the best glass I've had so far, and it's not good enough to make it worthwhile hoping it'll open up. So I'm not going to keep this bottle. That is the summary. Usually I kind of guide you through the steps that are part of my whiskey tasting sheet. But now we come to the rating. It's not, and my scale has 8 steps, 1 at the bottom, 8 at the top. It is not number 1, which is bad. It's not number 2, which is poor. But it's not number 4, which is okay. It's number 3, which is mediocre. And I've already used that word. I've said mid, I've said mediocre. That number 3 rating is 1.875 stars, so not quite 2 stars. It's 37.5 out of 100, or 3.75 out of 10. I don't often review a whiskey poorly. Most of the stuff I review these days is stuff I like. I don't often wind up with a bottle I don't care for. But then I'm not usually buying down on the bottom shelf anymore either. This I wouldn't call bottom shelf. It's kind of the bottom of the middle shelf, I'd say, as far as price goes. As far as quality, yeah, it's bottom shelf. Not at the top of the bottom shelf, but still bottom shelf. If I can find a higher proof Cedar Ridge, I might try it. But I don't recommend this one at all. And that being the case, I'm going to not bother with the toast tonight. It just doesn't seem right to me to toast y'all in whiskey I don't think is that good. So, I'll toast y'all in Coke. Yeehaw.